This graphic is found in your textbook, and it's what we call an electromagnetic spectrum. It has listed the different types of electromagnetic radiation: gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible light, infrared, microwave, and radio, in order of increasing wavelength. So the shortest wavelength and the highest frequency are gamma rays, where the longest wavelength and lowest frequency are radio. Most electromagnetic spectrums have both wavelength and frequency data, and we can see clearly on this graphic that as wavelength increases from left to right, our frequency decreases, and that's what we would expect since we know wavelength and frequency are inversely proportional. I want to point out down here we have the visible region of the electromagnetic spectrum sort of exaggerated here, and we do that because most electromagnetic radiation is invisible. The visible part is a very tiny part of the electromagnetic spectrum, but it has a huge impact on our everyday life since we are a very visual creature, and much of the information that we get comes from actually observing with our eyes. And the visible electromagnetic spectrum is the only electromagnetic radiation that interacts with our optic nerves and allows information about colors to be sent to our brain. So let's look at electromagnetic radiation. All electromagnetic radiation travels the speed of light. The speed of light is approximately 3 × 10⁸ meters per second, and it's represented by lowercase letter c. Now, for any wave, the wavelength times the frequency is equal to its speed. So for all electromagnetic radiation, lambda, or wavelength, multiplied by nu, or frequency, is going to be equal to the speed of light, since all electromagnetic radiation travels the speed of light. So we're going to use this equation to solve some problems. As we solve our problems, we're going to use the speed of light to be 3 × 10⁸ meters per second. And we also want to remember that since there are 3 variables in this equation, there are 3 ways we can express this equation. Since we already know what the speed of light is, we will either be solving for frequency if we're given lambda, or solve for lambda if we're given frequency. So you'll want to have these equations written down in your notes so you can get through the homework easily.